Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Just Two Brothers podcast, where we will be sharing our journey so far and some of the simple tactics we've learned that have helped us become great leaders. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Just Two Brothers podcast. We've got a little bit different episode coming out this week. It's actually a video that we're doing. So if you would like to, head on over to YouTube and check out the full video for this episode. We do have it released also as our podcast, the audio only, but we do have the corresponding video over on YouTube. So if you would like to, head on over to YouTube. We are Just Two Brothers Podcast. Make sure to subscribe over there as well. All our podcasts also get uploaded over on YouTube. So if you're not already over there, make sure to swing on over, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. But back to the episode. For this week, we've been on the theme of inspiration lately, and we just wrapped up the NFL football season. You guys have heard me talking about the Lions a couple of times, and I am amazed at the head coach that they have in Detroit, Dan Campbell. He is an amazing leader, and a lot of what he is about is exactly what we've spoken about. And you can see it in the way he leads the team, the way he talks, the way he interacts with the media and just everybody in general. You can see the leadership style that he has and how well it aligns to what we are doing here. So I've got a few video clips today. They are from, one of them was from after the wild card playoff game. They played the Los Angeles Rams. The next one is from the division championship game against Tampa Bay. It was the postgame with Dan Campbell, and then I also have a video postgame of Jared Goff, the quarterback, and that's also after the Tampa Bay game. And then I have another clip from Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a running back for the Lions, and that one is also after the Tampa Bay game. The two of the players just reflect the leadership that Dan Campbell exemplifies. What he's all about, you can see it in his players' responses and how they interact. You can see exactly what Dan has done. So I wanted to bring those ones up as well as the messages from Dan. So we'll get started with this first clip. Like I said, this is post-game in the locker room after the first playoff win in Detroit in over 30 years. I think it's been 32 years since they had won a playoff game at home in Detroit. First ever playoff game in Ford Field. So there was a lot of baggage that got eliminated with this win, and you can see the emotion, you can feel the emotion, but pay particular attention to what Dan says and how he says it, and then the responses in return. I'm going to play this clip in its full length, let it play all the way through, and then I'll comment on it at the end.
Let's go! Yes! Yes! Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, my God. Thank you.
We play next Sunday back here at home, guys. So look, we got the winner of Tampa and Philly, which is tomorrow. We'll be here at 3 o'clock back at Ford Field because you guys earned it. Dude, how electric was it out there? I'm telling you what, it doesn't get any better. It's everything you dream up and then more. All right, that's outstanding work. I got 2 game balls. All right, number one, listen, when you come in 3 years ago, like me and this guy did, and you had a vision and you start working together and you've got an idea how you want to build it and the type of players you're looking for and how you want to go top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams, and you're in fucking lockstep. You're in fucking lockstep. I'm telling you guys, it's a shitty business. It ain't always perfect, but we do a pretty good job, baby. All right. But without this fucking guy right here, man, Brad Holmes. Great job.
I absolutely love every single person in this room, man. We were intentional on being about grit, all right, and earning it. I love everybody in here, man. We went through darkness and it shaped us, all right? It shaped us for this moment. I love y'all, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Especially this guy, man. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just say it like this, all right? Hey, you're good enough for Detroit, Jay.
Hey, I love and appreciate you guys more than you fucking know. I promise you that. I love you guys so fucking much. This is just the beginning, boys. This is just the fucking beginning. We got 3 more of these next week at home, at our place, against whoever the wants to come in here. Let's go. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3, win!
Oh, there's no. I forgot.
It started with you.
Incredible out there.
Started with you.
I'm good at picking people.
You did a great job. You did a great job.
Metagenics gets to the root.
Okay. So, that video starts out with Dan Campbell and the general manager, Brad Holmes, giving each other a giant, giant hug. You can see the love and the care and the respect that they have for each other. They also both stand in the hallway waiting for the entire team to walk through so they can shake everybody's hand, congratulate them, talk to them, thank them, whatever it is that they want to say to each player. They're standing there in the hallway waiting for them. How many places do you see that happen? Not only the supervisor, but also his boss standing in the hallway thanking you for what you've just done, the effort you've just put in. How often does that happen? Think about that for a minute. You see Sheila Hamp and Brad Holmes hugging each other. Each thanks the other one for doing exactly what it is they're supposed to be doing. The owner is supposed to be hiring the right people to get the team to win and then staying out of the way and letting them do their job. The general manager is supposed to also hire people to put the right team together, get the head coach in there that fits the team, fits what you want to build, about hiring the right people, and then finding the right team to make it all happen, picking the right pieces to go into that team. But they're thanking each other for doing their jobs. Brings us back to one of our first episodes, the please and thank you episode. Something to think about. How often are you thanking people just for doing their job? Even your boss doing something that they're supposed to do for you. Do you thank them? Just an interesting dynamic, one you don't see publicly ever. So it was very nice just to see that little interaction between the two of them, thanking each other. thanking each other for doing their job and for what's going on, obviously, what's happened, but for doing their job. Jared Goff comes into the entire locker room chanting his name, much like the fans were all doing for a couple of weeks, I believe. But you can just see the camaraderie and the family that it is, the respect that they all have for each other, how much they love each other. They're celebrating together, and it was big for all of them. And they're just, you can see the love in that locker room. Dan goes into his message. He's not talking down. He's not talking above anybody. He feels like he's one of you. He fits in with you. You feel like he's in whatever battle right alongside of you. Feels like he's talking to his buddies. Not preaching. He's not acting like a coach. Not acting like a boss. He's acting like a leader. I think that's something we forget all too often. Yes, we may have the title of supervisor. We may be a boss, but we need to be a leader. Dan then continues on to praise the team for earning another game, and they happen to get it back at home. But just more praise. They earned something, putting it back on them. He's taking no credit, giving them all of it. Very selfless. Goes into his first game ball. He starts talking about Brad Holmes. He praises his boss. That's his boss. Can you do that? Can your team do that about you? This highlights again the respect that Dan has for Brad and shows their willingness to work together as a team. All the entire message is about how they're in lockstep with each other and how critical that is to building a strong team. And it's the truth. You and your leader need to be working together to achieve the same goal. If you're not, your team's going to follow suit. They can tell when there's something amiss there, and they're going to follow along. Brad goes into talking about how much he loves everyone. We went through darkness and it shaped us. I love that line. That is great. Hoping they somehow incorporate that into their stuff next year, but that was a brilliant line by Brad. Team was bad when they both took over. Coaches in the front office took a beating through year one and halfway through the second season. I mean, they were 1-6 to start the second year. They finished the first season 3-13-1. So yeah, not too many people were singing their praises to begin with. They wanted them gone. The team stuck with it and backed their leadership. Dan and Brad both stuck together, stuck by each other, and stuck by Sheila, the ownership. And they knew the goal they were trying to achieve, and they were hell-bent on getting there. Didn't matter what anybody said. It's all just outside noise. It's just noise. Block it out. Go after your goal. And they showed that. And he talks about that. And he says we is the appropriate term because everyone went through it together. It wasn't just the team. Leadership went through it too. They had to, for one, stick to their goal. They knew that what they wanted was what they wanted. They knew how they were getting there was how it needed to be. And they had to have the faith to stick through that. It's not easy. You lose 10 games and then start out losing 6 more. That's not a whole lot of, there's nothing there to hang on to. It's a scary place to be in, especially for ownership, who's got shareholders and everybody else barking at them. What's going on here? You need to make something happen. She had the balls to stick through it. And that says a lot about the faith and respect that they all have for each other. Sends it back over to Dan. Still, I'm looking for an ego. I have not seen one. I don't know. Comment below if you guys have. I'd love to know where the ego is at in that room. If you can find it, point it out, please. Give me the timestamp so I can find it and watch it myself. They couldn't have done it without each other. They acknowledge it. They admit it. And it's the truth. It's just nice to see it for a change. You can talk it, but do you actually do it? They do. They're genuine. That's critical to being a good leader and being the type of leader that a team wants to get behind. You need to be genuine. Whatever way it is, be you. Doesn't matter what way it is. Just be you. Figure out how to make it work for your team to be the right leader, but be you. Then Dan rallies the team around Goff and everything that has been said for years. Team loves it. Just another example of adversity they faced head on and had to overcome. Then Jared talks about love again and how much he cares about everyone. It's family. You can see it. You can see it on the field. You can see it in the locker room. You can see it in interviews. Anytime anybody talks, it's a family. And that's hard to make happen, especially with a bunch of grown men like that come from different backgrounds, have a lot of different goals. To be able to get them to look at each other like brothers like that, it's difficult. Then Jared brings the team in. You can hear the passion for what he's doing and the team around him. He's almost in tears. He's emotional while he's talking. Against whoever wants to come in here. Yeah, it was bleeped out. Sorry for all you degenerates who enjoy the cursing, but Detroit Lions had to bleep it for YouTube. But yeah, against whoever that wants to come in here. That's confidence in yourself and your team. At the end of the video, the part where I paused it and then forgot that there was more, Dan Campbell and Sheila Hamp are hugging and talking. Sheila's the owner of the team, remember. They are again thanking each other for doing their job. Crazy. Sheila just says she's good at picking people, talking about Campbell. Dan points to Brad and says, yes, you are. What the fuck? What the absolute fuck? He won't even take credit. She's trying to give him credit, and he defers it over to Brad. It's ridiculous. The absolute selflessness of that man. Yeah, it's everyone else. Of course it is. It's always fucking somebody else. Every single time. That's how you know you've got a good leader. If he won't take credit, that's who you want to get behind. No ego, no bullshit, just truth. All right, so that ends the first clip. Like I said, we've got a couple more for you. Second one is post division championship game after they beat Tampa Bay. So this one is going to be Dan Campbell after that game. I've got two different clips on this one that I want you guys to listen to, so you'll have to bear with me for a second. I'm going to play one. We'll briefly talk about it, and then I'll jump to the second one. So here we go.
everybody don't know, it's 3 years today when you had your introductory press conference and you came in, you set your expectations. You know, for you to leave your imprint on this team the way you have, man, I know you haven't had time to reflect on it, but just, you know, over this span, man, being able to do what you're able to do and capture this position that you're in right now.
Yeah, it's, look, I got a lot of really, really outstanding people around me, all right? And I'm fortunate. And it takes a village, and without everybody involved, without Brad Holmes, without Sheila, Rod, you know, Chris Spillman, without Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Dave Phipp, I mean, you don't, you know, I'm fortunate.
Okay, so where do I have my note? So the reporter asks him about reflecting on doing what he was able to do in such a short amount of time. So changing the team from perennial losers to making it to the NFC Championship game this year. In 3 years, that's ridiculous, unheard of, especially with this organization. So the reporter was asking him, how do you feel since you've been able to take the team here? And he turned it right back around, gave credit to the entire team around him. Again, did not take credit at all for getting the team to where it's at. It's everybody else. Second part of this clip is...
You're probably one of them. To each his own. We're going to the NFC Championship game with that group of guys. All right, and they love football. They play football, and that's what they respect. And they respect their teammates, and not anything else. And you know, when you're able to, you know, to care more about the person next to you than your own, you know, about yourself, you can do some pretty special things, and that's where we're at with this group.
Dan, one of your biggest gotta-have-it plays of the season, 4th and 1, you went to Craig Reynolds. That way, I say unexpected move, I guess, from the outside. Why Craig in that moment? And again, what it mean for him to deliver?
Yeah, he was in that package. So, I mean, look, we got a lot of faith in Craig. Craig's a good downhill runner, and it was kind of what we had packaged for him. So it wasn't, you know, it's just one of those things. It wasn't. I wouldn't read anything into it. It's just, if you're asking if we trust Craig, yes, we do trust Craig Reynolds, you know. I mean, so, heck of a run. It was well blocked, too. Those guys surged up front. It was just all the way around, really good.
I was going to say, you know, right now we're really hitting.
So that one I just thought was interesting because he doesn't let anybody say anything about his players. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's third-string running back. We had scored a touchdown in the division championship game on a 4th down and 1 from the goal line. It's not something you see most coaches do. But he talked about, he asked point blank, are you asking if we trust Craig Reynolds? Yeah, absolutely, we trust Craig Reynolds. Shows you the type of man he is. They always, well, not always, but a lot of times they went for it on 4th down. You can generally count on Campbell to go for it on a close 4th down in the right situation. Where most people wouldn't, he will. It's because he trusts his team. He says it right there. If you're asking if I trust Craig Reynolds, yes, absolutely. It says a lot. It says a lot about the belief he has in all of his players. Like I said, doesn't matter if it's a third-string running back or not. Got another video. This one is Goff after the same game. He is, I believe, after Dan Campbell is talking. They interview Goff. So here's a short little clip from him now.
Coach Campbell was asked about was how today's the 3-year anniversary of his introductory press And I know that the job is not finished in your eyes, but 3 years later, for you guys to be in this position, when a lot of people have doubts about your head coach, about you, about this team, how does this moment feel?
Oh, man. It feels pretty good. Dan's the greatest leader I've been around and has cultivated this culture we have and our belief in each other pretty significantly. And, you think about the dark times there early on in 2021, a lot of people calling for his head, a lot of people in this room calling for his head. It's pretty good to be able to sit up here and be able to play in the NFC Championship. And, it feels good.
I really enjoyed hearing that from Jared, just to hear him kind of reaffirm what type of leader Campbell is. And don't know how many of you out there are football fans or have watched the Lions at all or know anything about the situation that they've gone through the last few years, but Goff was pretty much given up on by his last team. And Brad Holmes came from that same organization, the Rams, who we gave Stafford to. In return, we got Goff and a whole bunch of draft picks. But Goff was pretty much just thrown away. And Brad saw that, knew who Jared was, the type of person Jared was, and that was very important. Because you have to have the right mindset to be able to handle the things that we handle. We, as in leaders, us, trying to achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve. Jared's the same way. But it takes a certain mentality to be able to withstand the beating he took and continued to take and had to continue to take and still takes. That's the adversity that they were talking about that they went through. But I just thought it was very, very interesting comment from Jared about the head coach. The last video clip I've got is Jahmyr Gibbs. It's postgame after the Tampa Bay game as well, and they ask him a question. His response is interesting, so here we go. Last one.
Jahmyr, first off, take me through that 31-yard touchdown that helped put this game away. What did you see?
I seen the O-line do what they do best, and that's run block. They've done a great job all year making holes for us, and we couldn't do it without them, so big shout out to them.
Now,
just another one of his players with the exact same mindset and mentality that Campbell has. Selfless. What did you see on that 31-yard touchdown run? I saw the lineman opened up for me. I really appreciate them. He didn't take any credit for it. He didn't take any credit for all the work he's put in to get him to this point in his career to be able to even have that opportunity. He didn't talk about what he actually saw, the hole open up, having to make a cut and get around the all-pro safety that he beat. He decided to talk about the hole that the offensive line opened up. He beat an all-pro safety to the end zone, 30 yards. Outran him, flat outran him. And he credited the O-line. They may have opened the hole, but he still had to cut back to hit that hole and then flat outrun somebody. Should have been like a 10-yard gain, maybe. He made it a 31-yard touchdown. He credited the O-line. Genuine, caring, selfless. I don't have much to add to all of that. I think my commentary on the videos summed up most of what I wanted to say for this. I just want you to pay attention to the everyday examples that you might take for granted. See if there's any leadership lessons that you might be missing out on in your day-to-day lives. See if there's somebody that exemplifies what we are trying to accomplish here. Take note of it. They're rare traits. You really have to watch for them. You can also, other interviews with leadership from the Lions, you can hear them talk about certain characteristics that they look for when they are scouting players. It's the same way we have to evaluate talent before we hire a team member. They're doing the same thing, looking for certain characteristics that fit their organization. You need to do the same thing. There's a lot we can take away from some of these examples that we can find in our everyday lives. If you don't already, make sure, I'm going to get this video out of the way. But yeah, if you haven't, or maybe you're not a football fan and you just don't watch it, I encourage you to at least watch some of the Lions next year. Unfortunately, this year's done. Had to watch the stupid Chiefs win again. Next year it's the Lions, so that's okay. We'll let them have this one. We'll knock them out of their three-peat. But watch the Lions. Watch the leadership. Watch how they all interact. The confidence, the faith, the trust, the love, the respect that they all have. Watch post-game interviews. Watch teammates interact with each other and the media. And just take note. They are very, very good examples of what we are trying to accomplish here. If you guys have any examples, perhaps other coaches, other leaders, maybe somebody online that we can all check out, link to it in the comments below. Send us messages. We're all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are Just Two Brothers Podcast. Daily content coming out. Typically, it's regarding a podcast episode, something pulled directly from one of our episodes. So make sure you are following us anywhere, everywhere, so you don't miss any of it. With that, I believe we are going to wrap this up. Like I said, a little bit different this time. I'm a little bit nervous to have one out on video. So we're going to see how this goes. Let me know how you like it, and we'll look to possibly do more in the future. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Yeah.